here's Brody Brazil.
Even though everything in this video seems entirely predictable, at least to myself, do you want to start with the good news, the bad news, or the worst news? I hate when it comes down to that, but let's give you the good news. Construction has started at Tropicana Field. They're in the process of putting a brand new roof on, fixing all of the water damage from the internals of Hurricane Milton back in October of 2024. That project, that literal construction project, is now underway. You can already see what the bad news is. The cost of this project already went up. I'll save what the worst news is for just a second. Going back to the good news, we'll focus on that. There's a timeline. The roof installation technically officially begins in August of 2025. It should be done by December. Brand new turf goes in December. This thing should be all wrapped up by April of 2026 when the Rays are scheduled to play their very first home game, April 6th, 2026. Let's hope there's no delays. Let's hope there's no complications. They're attacking this strategically. Again, it is a construction project, crews and cranes and everything you'd expect, trying to mitigate further damage by covering up all the lights and electronics. That's not meant to be exposed to the outdoors. This is never the way it was meant to be. They're fighting through this right now. I fear that there will be some more storms and hopefully no more hurricanes. But the problem is you don't know what to expect even during this construction project, but they're doing their best. They're literally putting their lives on the line to fix Tropicana Field. I know that's somebody's job to go up there and attach that blue netting, but man, I am glad that is not my job. Man, I respect construction crews that do that type of work. But they're up there and they're out there. Let's get to the bad news and the worst news. This coming in a report from yesterday in the Tampa Bay Times. Repairs are going to cost more than initially estimated and could go higher. I'll add in my own 2 cents on that. Will likely go higher, are almost guaranteed to go higher. How much higher? Well, the initial estimate from November 2024 was $55.7 million. And you know what? The fact that we're here, like a week or two into the construction project, and we're already tacking on $4 to $5 million, I guess that's not bad. Like, at least it didn't double. Yet. At least there's not a $20 million extra charge. Yet. But the fact that the initial estimate was low and wrong, I guess that's no surprise, but it's also disappointing. At this point, they're saying the new number is about $60 million. And that still doesn't include, here's the worst part. We don't know the final total yet. Some of it because there's equipment they haven't purchased, more things they need. The other part of it is that we don't know what the installation of all this is going to look like. We don't know how the construction is going to go here. Will it be easy and seamless and pain-free, or are they going to find some more things in the process of fixing up Tropicana Field? Again, the roof is the centerpiece. The roof has been the focus. Well, got to repair the roof, got to put a roof back on. Yes, that's true. And yes, that was about $22.5 million to approve and hopefully get all the pieces in from overseas. I'll document potential tariffs in just a second. We now know more on that front too. But the problem is we just don't know how much this is actually going to cost until it actually happens, and that price is definitely going to go up. I'll just tell it to you right now. There's going to be a city council vote for St. Petersburg on August 7th. 2 more things to approve here. And these 2 things, by the way, are going to get that number up to close to $60 million. These are some of the reasons why that price has gone up. $1.3 million for new turf. If you ever wondered how much a new turf field costs for a Major League Baseball ballpark, and there's not too many turf fields left anymore, but if you wanted to know, the answer apparently in 2025 is $1.3 million. That turf got damaged, water got under it, the old turf, and so they had to rip it out, and now they're replacing it. Another $14.5 million for a lot of different things. None of it has to do with the roof. Drywall repair, countertop replacement, flooring replacement, fixtures like light fixtures, electrical outlets, switches, baseball netting, field padding, speakers that got ruined in the humidity and the wetness, data cabling, fire and security systems, repairs to the right field video screen. All of those things, like just a laundry list of things, adding up to about $14.4 million. But again, the whole distraction of this was, the roof is going to be replaced, and that's it. Fix up the roof when you're done. No. When the roof got ripped off, the real damage happened inside. I cannot stress this enough. Imagine ripping the roof off of your house. and then letting it rain and having it be exposed to the elements for months and months. It's bad things that happen when you don't have a roof over your house. So, in terms of additional costs, now, this goes beyond the unexpected of weather delays or other mold issues they might find or other things that need more construction or repair. From the Tampa Bay Times, quote, "It's not clear yet how tariffs will factor into the total. At least half of the roof fabric manufactured in Germany has made its way to China for assembly." So that's the other thing about this. All of it is happening overseas. That process was initiated well before tariffs were even an idea. But now, Tropicana Field is kind of stuck in the unknown of tariffs. What more is it going to cost? Additionally, are we talking 25% for this roof material, this Teflon fabric, to make its way to Florida for actual installation? So half of the roof fabric manufactured in Germany is already in China for assembly. Tariffs will kick in once the first bundle ships out in August. So at least the good news on that, we'll know what the additional tariffs will be when the product starts arriving in Florida. The problem is, what if it is an extra 25%? What's 25% of $20 million? Yeah, am I doing this right? $5-6 million, let's say? Well, the project keeps going up. Now we're at $65 million. And I'll give you my guess and my estimation of what I think the final number is going to be in just a second. According to a July 22nd memo from City Development Administration Managing Director Beth Herendine, the city has received $7.6 million in advanced insurance proceeds. Now, that was another question about this entire process. How much would insurance kick in? I guess to some, this is a good piece of information. To others, they realize that St. Petersburg actually cut their insurance coverage within a year before Hurricane Milton struck. More of this could have been covered, but I guess they're probably happy to get $7.6 million. I'll be honest, that's more than I expected. And in an initial advanced payout, they're also looking to get money from other places. She wrote that the city continues to work closely with the insurance adjuster on the claim for the trop while also working with the Federal Emergency Management Agency for reimbursement. And I'll say this, FEMA to me is something that should probably help families and individuals get their lives back on track. A ballpark repair, I never knew that fell into the category of something like FEMA. I associate FEMA with, again, helping individuals and civilians and taxpayers and maybe not fixing up more of a commercial property like a baseball stadium. But the bottom line is St. Pete is going to all the right places to try and get reimbursed and to try and get helped out here for this initial cost of, $56 million. It's now closer to $60 million. They've already got more than $7 million received. Richie Floyd is on the St. Petersburg City Council. He said, quote, "We locked ourselves in when we voted for the roof." Yeah, he's not happy about the initial cost or the additional cost. "We're literally in a position where there is no chance to negotiate our way out of the agreement anymore because we've already started dumping." Basically, there's another thought that St. Petersburg could have went to the Rays and said, "Hey, you've got 3 more years on this lease. It's going to cost us 55, 65, whatever $million to fix up this stadium. Why don't we buy you out? Why don't we say we'll give you $20 million, which is half of what we would have paid. We'll level the trop." I guess in this sense, they are keeping the asset of Tropicana Field. It's just more expensive than they wanted to do. Or they could have put a tarp over it and just covered it up and dealt with it later down the line. Now they have to deal with it right here, right now, when it's costly, when it's expensive, and they have to do the expensive fix instead of buying out the Rays. I also realize if you're the Rays, what does that mean where you play for the next couple of years, right? So the Rays are trying to hold St. Petersburg to this contract because it doesn't put the Rays on the hook financially. It also gives them somewhere to play. And by the way, who are the Rays now? Is it the old Sternberg ownership group? Is it the new Zalupski purchasing group? We'll talk about that in a second too. Richie Floyd says he believes the city could have bought the Rays out of their agreement to play at the Trop for another 3 years instead of repairing a ballpark that could be obsolete. No, is already obsolete. City Administrator Rob Gertis has said that the city preferred a settlement tied to building a new stadium to make it worthwhile to potentially forego FEMA reimbursement. So they didn't really want to take FEMA reimbursement, but they're kind of in this bind of needing money and probably needing more money and having to go this route, and all of it kind of being strong-armed by the Rays. So that dollar amount that I think it's going to reach, probably more like $70 million when you add in that video production equipment they need to buy, when you add in, we opened the door to this room, and there's still water in here, and there's mold, and we got to rip all the drywall out and replace the ceiling tiles, all that stuff. So if it started at $55 million, I think we've all done a construction project or two over the years. Probably going to end up more like $70 million. I think I'm being realistic on that. I also think I'm being slightly conservative and responsible about that number, but I do think if it's already at 60, it might hit 70 by the time we roll around to April of 2026. I don't think that number makes anybody happy or they appreciate it. I think that's just the way it is. And I think, unfortunately, now $70 million divided by, if the Rays only play there 3 more years, like that is an expensive proposition to keep playing here. But we talk about the Rays. Who are the Rays right now? If they're selling, if they really are selling, if Stuart Sternberg's group really is selling the team, what does the current Rays regime even care about the situation? Tropicana Field or not, what do they care? They just don't want to pay anything. They don't want the sale price of the team to be affected by any of this. It feels very one-sided that only St. Pete has to care, only St. Pete has to deal with this, and the Rays are just like, can you please rebuild our stadium and hurry up and pay whatever you need to pay, and we're not chipping in at all? It is kind of amazing, right? The current Rays regime doesn't care at all about this. You'd have to think that the new group that is supposed to come in and supposed to complete the purchase by September, by the way, that's maybe a month and a half away from right now, you'd think they would have to care dramatically. They're buying a $1.7 billion team. They want to make sure that there is at least a place for them to play next year. The other thing I'm concerned about is just roof installation during weather and hurricane season. And for as much as I know there are competent people on this project, there are some things out of their control, like hurricane season, which is about to hit. They're doing this in the midst of that. If you would have told me, hey, construction is going to start in January of 2025 and it's going to be wrapped up by June, hey, great. They were already on this. The problem is, with anything, and with the stadium that got pitched and then got backed out of by the Rays, and they didn't know if they would need Tropicana Field, all this stuff going on, it's nobody in particular's fault, but this is the nature of how things go. They didn't get to start this project early enough. Now they're going to have to go through the worst part of the year starting it and doing it. So what other delays will there be? What other costs will be incurred by all of this? You know what? Buying out the lease for St. Petersburg, buying out the Rays lease, it would have been the prudent thing to do. It would have been the understandable thing to do. Instead of spending $20-something million per year, like 70 divided by 3, doesn't make a lot of financial sense for the city to have to do this. For what? For 3 more years, and then what? Then you've got a fixed up, kind of Frankenstein Tropicana Field, got a brand new roof. It's like putting race car tires. Gosh, I gotta pick a car here, and I hate to do this because some of you might have a car that'll name. What was the Chevy Nova from back in the day, right? It's like putting race car tires on a Chevy Nova. Why are you doing that? You got this brand new roof on Tropicana Field, brand new field. You're going to use it for 3 years, and then are the Rays staying for sure? Are they going to try and... I know they're going to try and build a new stadium. I know that's what the new group is going to do. Even if they stayed there 5 years, is $70 million worth it? Then it's like, what, $12 million a year? All of this is super expensive. I don't care how much insurance pays or not. It's just a problem that should have been sorted out. There has to have been a better path. You'd have to think that if a new stadium was part of the initial plans, then they could probably get through an issue. They could play in a temporary stadium for another year or two, so long as they knew the new place was already going up. Like, construction should have already started on the Rays' proposed ballpark right next to Tropicana Field. It didn't. So now we're in this waiting game where you kind of need this place, and it's kind of way more expensive and only getting more expensive than it should be. Costs went up. I think it's going to go up even more. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because you know I would love to see you back here next time.